Hey y'all, let's dive right in. This trip started off on a bad foot with a 37-minute delay, which was showing that I was very likely going to miss my connecting flight to Munich. I was so stressed, you guys. So stressed, a bit pissed, but thankfully I ran and booked it and made my flight. And not only that, I actually ended up getting an upgrade to a premium seat, which was previously sold out. I had to pay 14,000 United miles for it, but I got it. Sadly, it was in the middle. Between the people next to me constantly eating and everybody else going to the bathroom all the time, I did not get much rest. Next layover was about 3 hours, but it felt like a lot less than that. So I've been up for almost 24 hours now. I hope to never make this trip ever again. I hate international airports. They confuse the fuck out of me. Especially when I'm flying an airline like Sun Express. It seems like it's Spirit, like some type of Spirit airline, and I just have to find their gate or find their check-in, and it's just a whole mess. It's like I'm just running on low energy. I'm so fucking tired. I just want to go to my hotel and do nothing. I arrived at about 6:15 at night, so that really wasn't bad. It's very, very important to me that I don't land too late at night when I'm traveling alone, especially somewhere far away. I paid the fee again this time to have them take me to my hotel. It was $87, which is definitely overpriced, but it is what it is. I stayed at the Accra. It's a 5-star hotel. I wish I had stayed here last time. I don't know why I didn't, but it is absolutely beautiful. And I was here for a total of 11 days. Here's a quick little tour of the hotel room that I was in. It's very representative of the photos that are online, so there was nothing that was misrepresented here, but I am absolutely thrilled with the room that I got. I wanted something that just offered a bit more room than your usual hotel room where you just walk in and it's just doesn't really look like there's much going on. So I had to have this deluxe sea corner view, is what they call it online. And I paid a total of about $1,500 for 11 days. You can't get a view like this anywhere without paying a huge amount of money for it in America, and the view I had was absolutely stunning. It really stood out to me how much it looked a lot like California, but that there were a lot of low-income looking apartment complexes around it, and there's just nowhere in America you can live that close to the ocean without paying a fortune for it. So today is day one of the second part of my treatment. I don't know what they're doing. I'm just showing up, and then we're going to discuss whatever it is that's being done, and then we'll get started on that. So I'm going to head out the door and go meet my driver. I look like a total tourist in the back of this van. I could not stop turning my head all around, taking all types of footage. I just love the newer area that I was staying in this time around, especially being so close to the water. I just could not stop filming, and it was a gorgeous sunny day. You'll notice right away there's lots of cats and dogs, mostly big dogs. I didn't really see any small ones. They're just roaming the city. They're just strays. They're hanging out everywhere. They own this town, so you're going to see them a lot in my video. Day one is your consultation, where you go over everything in extreme detail about what you want done and exactly what it's going to cost. This meeting took an hour, but it took me basically 3 hours total. They are overbooked. They had so many people there, but you just go over all the stuff that you need to get done and how many appointments it's going to take total to do it. So I had a total of about 4 appointments, including this one. I was slightly disappointed that the staff from my first visit weren't there, but the new staff, they did a good job regardless. All right, so day one is down. What you do on your first meeting is you just have a consultation. They did drop the ball this time around. It took them 2 damn hours to finally see me. The clinic was full. They overbooked themselves. But it took them 2 hours to see me, and then we spent another hour, which felt like forever, having a consultation, discussing everything that needed to be done, the budget. They wanted to add a couple of root canals, which I've never had before, to the budget, and a sinus lift. So that basically kind of took it over almost $800. So I had to go back and forth with them on that. We got the price down a few $100s. I'll have to discuss more of that later when I'm talking about the overall price. But consultation's done, and I start my treatment tomorrow at 11. Basically, when I leave here, all of my teeth will be done with the exception of one. This one here that's missing. It was a tooth that had fillings, and anybody who's had fillings and never went to the dentist to address it because you couldn't afford it, you know that they crack, fall out, and it just basically is like a busted tooth, and it's just sitting there. So they are going to extract that, put an implant, and they think I'm coming back in 6 months to get that crowned. I I don't fucking think so. No, I'm having they want to do a temporary bridge, but I'm not doing that. I don't want that because I know that I'm going to have it crowned in America. It's much cheaper and convenient for me to have that one tooth done back at home than make a whole nother third fucking trip to come out here just for one fucking crown. I mean, the crown is only like 200 something bucks, but it's just cheaper to get it done back home. So that's what I'm going to do. All right, so today is my first official appointment to get work done. The only thing that they're doing is grinding down the rest of my teeth that they didn't touch the first time, which would be all of my teeth in the back, pretty much grinding them down. I didn't need any work on them, but I wanted them crowned so that my whole mouth looks uniform. I brought my leftover medication from 2 years ago, so I told them to skip the pharmacy and just take me back to my room because that stuff was still good. The hotel has 4 restaurants, and this is one of them. It's a buffet style for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. I wanted to check it out. I think they wanted 500 Turkish lira, and you have access to everything in here, but I chose to skip it. I wanted to go out and actually walk the city and see what I could find. I hate to sound very sheltered, you guys, but I was just scared. This was a huge deal for me to go and walk in a foreign city. I did not venture far at all. I only wanted to go just a few minutes away from my hotel, so I found a grocery store down the street. By the way, since I didn't have any cash, I felt so bad that I wasn't able to help that lady that was on the ground. But I came into the store. It looked just like any other store back home, which you kind of think sounds funny to say, but when you're in another country, like everything is just so different. I had to come in here and get a few things that I wasn't able to pack with me, like larger lotions, all that stuff that you can't get through TSA. But yeah, it was just like being at home in a sense. Everything was just a little bit different. I was surprised that you can choose the English option to check out. You actually have to pay for a bag at this store, and you can't bag your stuff until everything's rung up. It was weird. But it came out to $17, which I would have paid a lot more for back in America. So there's a little bit of a price comparison there. I really like that they have these random trash cans and big dumpsters around the city. So anytime you need to throw trash away, you can. You can see we still have the regular basic American restaurants. I chose to eat here. You can see a couple of different options that we don't have on our menu. And I just got some chicken strips and fries, guys. It was like $3 in US money. So I don't have anything. I'm so sorry. It is raining so hard. I went out just in time to go run some errands on foot. I'm going back to my hotel room and just gonna stay there the rest of the day. I don't have to go back to treatment until tomorrow. Holy shit. They have this restaurant called Pablito's. I ended up eating most of my meals from there, so that's where I had dinner. A couple days later, I had my second appointment. I think we just did some impressions of my teeth. It was very simple. I think they may have done a little bit of grinding down because my face was numb. That's why I had this mask on. That's the worst part of this for me, you guys, is getting the injections. They do hurt a little bit, but I hate my mouth just being so numb. It's like you can't feel anything, which is the point, but it just puts me in a bad mood. So that was it. Got a show, took off, and headed straight back to my room. Another thing you'll notice is the city is not very pedestrian friendly at all. I think there's more cars than people. The driving here is absolutely nuts. So you really got to look out when you're trying to cross the street. Everybody's impatient. It is so crazy. You think LA's bad or New York or something. This is nuts. But I just really appreciated making this drive every time. I really wanted to make time to stop by here and go for a long walk, and unfortunately I never got around to it. Okay, I don't know if this is weird, but I saw a couple people eating pizza with a fork, and I'm just like, is that a cultural thing? I don't know. Speaking of cultural stuff, I'm always asked if everybody here dresses normally. You're only going to see a few women wearing a burqa is what I think she's got on. Not a big deal. That's her choice. But I happened to see her when I was looking out my window and decided to record it. It's day 7, exactly, Monday. I leave this coming up Friday. This is the first day where I've been in bed for a while. I slept in. I just got up at 4 o'clock, which was about 45 minutes ago. I went to bed at 2 a.m. I didn't want to, but I just couldn't sleep. So I'm just now getting up, and I'm going to stay in my robe all day. I'm going to go downstairs, actually, and get some food from one of the restaurants that I've been eating at quite a bit. I don't use the room service. I want my shit the second it's made. I don't want to wait for somebody to bring it up, so I go down and get it myself. It's the same restaurant. So the weather was largely forecast to be rainy almost every day, and since it was a day off from dental work and it was very sunny, I decided I needed to get up and get out and go make a field trip. somewhere. So I wanted to explore the grounds first and get closer to the water and just get a better view of where I was staying and show you guys that. If there's anything I love, it's boats, water, and sun. So this was just a real treat for me to see. Now that I'm staying in a much better part of Antalya, I do not want to come home, you guys. The weather is just perfect here. It is so fucking beautiful. Look at this background of the hotel that I'm staying at. I'm actually going out to explore. I'm going to hit a bakery or two, go get something to eat, and just kind of go out and sightsee a little bit. I'll be on foot today, so I'm not going too damn far. I'm not trying to get kidnapped or nothing. I don't know. Still a new place for me, but yeah, I just love it here. I don't want to leave. I was using Google Maps. Google Maps definitely works here to get around, and even though I was the only Black person in the entire country, I was just trying really hard to fit in and just look like I belong there. I wanted to go to this bakery that was very highly rated, because I was craving some brownies the night before. So it's only a 4-minute walk, kind of. And I decided to make a go for it, explore the neighborhood, get out, see what, it kind of felt like to be a local. And I just loved everything that I saw. I did constantly keep a lookout because I was trying to film, cross the street, make sure that I was safe, in just doing all these different things at once. So I was just really overwhelmed, but I made it to this bakery, and you guys have to go. If you're ever in Antalya for any reason, you've got to stop here. It was so good. I actually came by twice. They just have a huge variety of sweets. I wanted some stuff that I could just kind of maybe have in my hotel room when I wasn't, being numbed up and stuff. They had some oatmeal cookies right here. I grabbed a pack. They're so good. Like, everything here was just delicious. I thought I was spending a lot of money. It was like $13 for everything that I got. There's no way you're going to pay that little at any bakery here in America. But it's just so good. The croissants were amazing. I ate so many croissants while I was in town. And the staff was great, although they kind of were laughing a little because they saw that I was filming everything. So maybe that's a weird thing for them, thinking that you might be an influencer of some kind. No one bothered me while I was walking down the street. This just kind of seemed like your average neighborhood, nothing high end or too run down, just a regular working class neighborhood. I made it a point to not be out pretty much past about 4 to 5 o'clock. I was always back before it got dark. The sun sets there around 5 o'clock as well. So there's like tons of random stores around here. I'm really trying to find somebody that fucking sells pepper spray. I haven't needed it so far, but so one thing I want to make note of for those of you who want to travel as Black women, there are some Black people here for sure in Turkey. I've seen most of them at the hotel that I'm staying at and at the dental center. But outside of that, you are a unicorn. You will be stared at a lot. I don't mind that. I just don't know if it's because it's a rarity for these people to see a Black person or because I'm gorgeous, probably both. But you will be stared at a whole lot, so just kind of be prepared for that. But keep it moving. I ain't talking to nobody. I didn't come out here for no man, but I will say I much prefer looking at Turkish men than American men. I want to go over a couple of quirks with the room. If you have the door unlocked or open, the heater or AC will not work. I always thought that was so weird. And you can see what it looks like here when it's not working. So you have to have the door completely locked. And also you have to have the key card in this little slot or your lights won't turn on in your room either. That was the same at my last hotel too. So I just found that interesting. And there was only one channel that had English. It was BBC News. So if you want to watch TV, I think that's about all that you can get. And as far as the minibar goes, I never use the minibar when I'm staying at a hotel. They usually don't have anything I like. I take all of their stuff out and just replace it with water because that's largely what I'm drinking. So that's just what I did. And then when I check out, put all of their shit back so that they are not charging me anything at all. This hotel also has dry cleaning, which I did use. I mainly brought tracksuits. I didn't want to bring a ton of clothes. I was already overpacked anyway, but I went ahead and used that after about a week. Just had them clean up some of my stuff and re-wore some of it. So it turns out I needed cash after all. So the hotel lobby has an ATM, of course. You can choose a couple different foreign currencies. to choose from. And when you put your card in, it gives you an option for English. So don't be intimidated by it like I was. The hotel staff can help you with that. And the fees were very minimal, $20 or less to withdraw money. And I ended up needing to use this ATM at least 3 times. I went and got cash at midnight because I knew the lobby would be empty and I wouldn't feel stressed about somebody watching me take money out. I didn't bring any cash on this trip like I did last time because I didn't think I'd need it, but I like my housekeeper so much. I want to surprise her with a good tip. So turns out I do need to get cash, and I'm actually paying for private transport tomorrow. I need my own private car to take me all the places I need to go. I don't want to use a taxi, and they only require cash, so I had to go and get some cash. I was going to go to a foreign exchange office tomorrow to get money off my debit card, get it in lira and have money that way, but that whole thing, I was doing a lot of research. It just sounds really weird and complicated. So I just said, screw it. I'm going to go to the ATM, pay what the fee is. It turned out to just be a total of about $15 to withdraw money from the ATM here at the hotel. I withdrew 5,700 lira exactly, which is about $200 in American money. So I got some envelopes from the hotel, and this is, what their cash looks like. So that will cover what I think is a really good tip for my housekeeper, my ride tomorrow. And there is a homeless lady that's been begging on the streets with her daughter. So if I see her again, I'll give her whatever I have left. Today was another day off for me, and I didn't want to be holed up in my hotel like I was on my first time around here. So I decided to get a tattoo and just go run some errands. At the last minute, I wanted to go out and make a day of it. So I had a 2:00 appointment to see my tattoo artist. I'm walking, trying to find his shop. And this is where I feel like I really got to see a lot more of the actual city of Antalya that I did not get to see the first time around. It is so busy and crowded, people everywhere, stuff to buy everywhere. And when I found the shop, I was a little scared to go up because it was super dark here. I was like looking around, extra paranoid. But I, decided to just trust my gut and go ahead and go on upstairs. Everything was fine, but that's how you think when you're a single woman traveling alone. So I'm going to get a tattoo, like on my pinky finger. The guy who was getting this tattoo, he was so cool. He speaks Turkish, Russian, and English. And we were just having an awesome conversation about his tattoo that he was getting. So the tattoo artist did not budget his time correctly. So he said it's going to be another 40 minutes. I don't have that kind of time to wait. I have to go run my other errands. So I'm just going to end up coming back and having him do it then. When you go out and run errands, you definitely want to hire a driver who can just kind of stay with you the whole time. So that's what I had. He took me to the mall. I wanted to go visit a different mall this time, see what they had. This mall was huge. I think it was like 4 or 5 stories. And it was insane. And so I didn't buy anything, but I just kind of ran in, ran out, tried to kill some time until I came back. And this guy was finished. I like his tattoo. Unfortunately, that's not how the world works, but I appreciate that he had heart and personality. He was just really fucking cool to talk to. But he was done, and it was finally my turn. And I sat and spent a few minutes trying to come up with a font and exactly everything that I wanted for my tattoo. It was very simple, very basic. I didn't really think it through that much. His cousin here is a tour guide, Azad, and I just, let him talk to me while I was getting my tattoo. He was actually a good distraction. While I got that done, it didn't hurt that much. I wish I had done my research beforehand. I would have realized that this is a stupid place to get a tattoo. I'll show you later what my tattoo looks like right now, but I don't regret it. I didn't want to do anything major that I was going to regret, and I didn't really know what his skill level was, so this is what I got. Thankfully, it was a cheap tattoo. It was only $50, so I went ahead and paid him that in Turkish lira, which is what he wanted. Every time I look at these buildings, I always wonder what they look like inside. It's just, again, representative of most of the housing units here in Antalya. But I wanted to make my way to another highly rated bakery, which was close by. I wanted to try it out. It's called Villanelle, love the name. And they have more ratings than the other bakery, but they had less variety. And I just was not impressed with most of the stuff that they had. I went ahead and bought some stuff. They had a cheesecake that was to die for. I hate that I only got one slice of it. That one at the very bottom called the Lotus cheesecake. It was so delicious. But I went ahead and patronized them, bought some more croissants, and just kind of headed out on my way. I love the feeling and the vibe that I get from seeing all the people eating outside, walking everywhere. It's just so busy. There's never a dead moment. And since I'm a basic bitch, I went back to McDonald's. Sorry, you guys, but I just kept it safe. I'm afraid to try Turkish food. I really should have, but I didn't. So to sum it up, the city is really just like one giant mall. There's a million side alleys with all these little merchant shops next door to each other. You got to be here to see it. I can't even correctly articulate everything that I wanted to see. There's like a ton of stores with wedding dresses lined up. I thought that was so interesting. But it's just store after store. It was just one big, huge, giant mall with people everywhere. And there's just so many alleyways to explore. It's insane. It's an extremely dense city. Today is fitting day. This is where you finally pay before they give you the final look. I'm going to show you a breakdown of everything that I paid. My total for all of the work I had done was $4,533. I was quoted a lot less than that, but the root canals and a couple of changes up the price a little bit. So the top portion is just my upper jaw, bottom portion is bottom jaw. And here are my final teeth. We had to try them out, of course, before they finally cemented them in. I have a permanent bridge on the bottom so you can see how they were able to hold that together. But yeah, they basically just had to put everything in, see if it fit well. If they need to make any changes, they will. I do love that about this place. They had to shave them again about 3 different times just to make sure that my bite fit perfectly. So I love that. Immediately after, I got my tooth removed and final implant put in. I loved how professional and fast the doctor was. It was all less than an hour. They offered to let me keep my tooth, but it was broken. And they did the sinus lift, which was a whole lot of banging on my left nostril. So that was very, very uncomfortable, but you don't feel any pain because you're super numb. So this is it. That was the last bit of work that I had done, and my mouth is complete. They didn't give me a temporary crown to put on, so it's just the implant by itself. So that's why I still have a missing tooth. This time they did take me to the pharmacy. It's not because I needed anything. They did want me to have backup medication in case something goes wrong at home. So the next day, you can see I've got my last final checkup. They gave me my gum shield. You can see all of the blue stitching that's there for the implant. That dissolves on its own. So that will come out over time, just like on my first trip. And then they take some final photos of you afterwards, just like they did before. And you're done. That's it. It's all over. This trip went by so fast. I really couldn't believe it. It felt surreal walking out these doors for the last time because I should not be coming back for at least another 10 to 15 years. And they stand by their work. So I have no doubt that, they did a great job just like they did the first time. You do get a lifetime guarantee on your implants as long as you're not doing anything that's going to put them in jeopardy. So they do stand by their work. They give you all the paperwork on that when you leave, and you can discuss that in the beginning. But this was kind of it for, I think, one of my last days here in town. Okay, so here's the only shit show that happened during my trip. I did take a taxi this time. My driver was awesome. I really wanted to go and get a chocolate bath wrap that this company was offering. My driver right here before he was leaving is like, I don't think you really want to go here. It's kind of shady. I didn't listen. I came in anyways. I'm not a massage person. I like chocolate. I like wraps. And if they're chocolate, then that's great. So that's really why I stuck with my choice to come to this place. It was down in the basement. The reviews were good. It looks, decent, but this guy is the one that really kind of ruined it for me. He made it uncomfortable for me to be here. I think he was the owner. His presence was unsettling for me, and they required me to pay before I got my treatment, which is kind of a rare thing. I've never had that happen, but I decided to go through with it anyways. When you look closer, the facility wasn't in the best shape. The little pad that she put me on wasn't new or anything. The flip-flops they gave me were obviously used and just trashy. She stepped away for a while to go get something, and he was in here with me. The only thing I had on was a towel and some underwear because I don't like to get completely nude. He was standing there holding like the chocolate paste, and he didn't try anything, but it just made me feel uncomfortable. It's like, why don't you fucking leave? You shouldn't be here with me at all. And then he had the audacity at the end to ask me for a tip. And then he puts it in writing, can you please tip me? Like, the fuck? He was just unprofessional from the start and very money hungry, so that's why I didn't fucking give him anything. I want to throw in real quick that my taxi ride was extremely cheap. It was 100 Turkish lira one way and back. So 200 total, and that was like $3-something each way. Just a reminder that it's affordable to get around without a private driver. Okay, so I want to briefly sum up my spa visit. I feel like I have a lot to say only because I was so fucking irritated by it, but I don't. So I'm just going to simply say that I liked the service that I received, the treatment that I chose, the chocolate bath. It wasn't like luxurious or the best, but I was happy with it. I think the woman did a very good job, and I appreciate her service. So I really did like the service and the treatment. I didn't like the male who was present. He made me feel uncomfortable from the beginning, watching me pay. And I just didn't like that there was a man there at all. And as you just saw, I also didn't like that he, for some reason, felt like he needed to bring back the material that the woman was going to use. Maybe that's normal, but the fact that I was just standing there in a towel and nobody else was present, I just didn't like that. It rubbed me the wrong way. And then he further irritated me. He asked me to tip, and I acted like I didn't understand anything that he was saying. And then he later showed me again on his phone. I thought it was a desperate, pathetic money grab just because I'm a tourist. If people want to tip you, they don't fucking forget. They will absolutely do that. And I didn't want to tip him because for what? You didn't fucking do anything and you made me feel uncomfortable. So I thought it was pathetic, but I should have known better because when I messaged them originally on WhatsApp, they wanted me to also pay for transportation there, the equivalent of 86 American dollars. That was fucking dumb. My taxi ride there was $3, almost $4. So I should have kind of known better then. Like, I don't blame these people for trying to make their money, but it's just a shameless money grab. So I absolutely will not be going back there at all. I'm just very thankful that I wasn't hurt because my mind was all over the fucking place, y'all. Well, today is my last day here. I was gonna go on a tour, but I decided against it because it's cloudy and chilly. So I'm just gonna walk to the store, get some snacks, hope I see that homeless lady, give her the last bit of Turkish lira that I have, and if I don't, I'll just give it to my driver who's taking me to the airport in the morning. That's it. Just gonna go get some snacks, go back to my room, and just catch up on sleep because I will be up again for another 24 hours for my long 3 flights that I have home. I had a little bit of money left over. I was really hoping to find this lady my last day here, and thankfully she was there with just her son this time. I really wish I had more money to give her. Couldn't understand anything she was saying, but the way she grabbed my hand, I could just feel how grateful she was. I felt so bad I didn't have more for her. I tipped my housekeeper 2,900 lira, which is about only 100 in American money. Not a big deal to me, but she gave me a huge hug. I didn't want to put that on camera because I don't think she would have appreciated that. But that was, I just like to give to people who I feel like really deserve it. It's probably also why my trips end up costing a lot more than they need to. I feel like 2 weeks flew by way too fast. I was happy to go home, but not really. I wanted to stay a little bit longer. So maybe next time I'll use a 3-month visa to stay for the whole 3 months. But the weather was crappy the day that I left. And you should get to an international airport 3 hours in advance because it takes forever to get through checking your bag. But stopped by the duty-free part of the airport, grabbed a few things to take back home, including some Turkish fruit for my brother that he asked for, and he said it was surprisingly good. I came home right before Christmas, so that was another reason I left at this time, as I didn't want to be dealing with all the crowds at the airport and delays on the way to and from. So I got back home just in time. The timing also worked out because I made it out here and left before we got to see any real snow. It's fucking cold, y'all. If you've been harassed on an international trip, please let me know because I'm starting to feel like it's just me. All right, so let me tell you real quick what that jackass was doing. Even though I know he's doing his job, This happened to me on my way back from Mexico a few years ago. I just had this really intrusive fucking agent asking me, why were you in Mexico? What were you doing? They're just asking too many fucking questions that aren't your fucking business. And on top of that, I'm already on my way home. What the fuck do you care? I've already passed through, fucking immigration or whatever multiple times. And so anyway, this guy was asking me, where are you flying from? I said Turkey. He's like, well, what were you doing there? And I just decided to say visiting someone. He's like, who? And I'm like, I don't think you need to be asking me that. He's all standard operating procedure. I think it's just another way for them to fucking be nosy. I don't know if he was trying to flirt or whatever it was. But why are you asking so many fucking questions? I've made it through security multiple fucking times. I'm on my way home. What the fuck do you care? I'm going out of Turkey, not into Turkey. I think some of these people are just on a fucking power trip, and then when you don't answer their question, they have the audacity to flag you somehow. He went and talked to somebody else as though he was going to delay me. And I ended up getting through so I can take my next flight to Chicago. But it's like, you guys need to stop asking so many fucking questions, especially when you're questioning me about something that's already happened. It's in the past. Like, I'm literally here waiting to board a flight to go somewhere else. Why do you care where I came from? You already get asked that a lot. Every time you pass through customs, they want to know where you're going, why you're going. It's like, y'all just ask too many fucking questions. Mind your business, bitch. Long haul flights are at least 8 hours long, so it's worth it to pay more if you can so that you can recline your seat and lay all the way down. There's no way I could fly economy for a flight this long, but it was okay for what you get. And when I did land, I did not get my luggage. They had to bring it to my house, I think a day or two later. It was annoying, but I made it home, y'all. Getting a tattoo was a last minute impulse decision. I didn't know what I wanted or where I wanted, so I decided to go with something very minimal. As you can see, I got it in the wrong place. If I had known that they don't last on the finger, I wouldn't have done it, but it was only $50. I don't regret it, but now I know. This is the base price for my flight. I added about an extra $1,400, including seat upgrades and travel insurance. The hotel was around $1,500 for 2 weeks. I added everything up here. I think that's probably also around what I spent the first time around. You can go back and watch that video for that. It's been about 3 weeks since I've been back home now. It feels very surreal having a mouthful of nice, perfect teeth that don't have any issues. I've been dealing with dental issues for a very long time. So it's just very kind of crazy that I actually have this whole process done. My bottom teeth have had me feeling like a baby teething for the first 2 weeks that I got back. It was very hard to get used to having teeth attached to my gums. I think my gums really wanted to reject it, but that feeling has passed and everything feels perfectly normal now. So I should be good to go for another 10 to 15 years. And I will be going back to the same place when it's time for a complete replacement. Who knows how that's going to happen? I don't know what the signs would be that you need to just go back and get them all done, but they've held up really good so far. But for those of you who haven't seen the first video of my first trip, I think you might be able to click here and watch it, but it's here on my channel. And overall, again, I'd highly recommend anybody who has any significant dental issues to save up, spend the money, and go overseas. It's just so worth it.